The loudest person in the room is rarely the richest one in it. Think about that for a second. You've seen them. The ones who post every win, every new car, every business class seat, every milestone announced to an audience that didn't ask. And for a while, it looks like success. It feels like success. It has all the visual language of success. But here's what Niccolò Machiavelli understood 500 years ago that most people still haven't figured out. Noise is not power. Noise is the performance of power. And those two things are not even close to the same thing. Drop this in the comments right now. Say, I build in silence. Because what you're about to hear is going to change the way you see wealth, ambition, and the people who are quietly winning, while everyone else is loudly performing. Machiavelli wrote that the wise man does not announce his intentions. He executes them. He understood that the moment you reveal what you're building, you hand your enemies the blueprint. You invite competition you didn't need. You invite opinions from people who have no stake in your outcome. And worst of all, you let the announcement replace the action. Most people have experienced this. You share a plan. You get the validation, the responses, the excited replies. And somewhere in that dopamine hit, the urgency to actually build the thing quietly dissolves. The announcement felt like progress, but nothing moved. Machiavelli called this the trap of premature declaration, and it has destroyed more potential than failure ever has. Here's the pattern nobody points out. Look at the wealthiest people in any room, not the ones performing wealth. The ones who actually have it. The ones with assets that earn while they sleep. The ones whose money has been compounding quietly for years. Most of them are unremarkable in public.
They don't private certainty. That internal scoreboard that requires no external validation is one of the most underrated psychological advantages a person can develop. Machiavelli observed that the prince who constantly seeks reassurance signals to everyone around him that he is not certain of his own position. Certainty doesn't announce itself. It doesn't need to. Now here's where it gets uncomfortable. Because the reason most people can't build quietly isn't lack of discipline. It's a much deeper psychological need that nobody wants to admit to. The need to be seen. Not the work, not the result, the process, the struggle. The identity of being someone who is building something, that need for external acknowledgement, that quiet desperation to have someone else confirm that your ambition is real, that your direction is right, that you are on your way. That need is the exact mechanism the wealthy have learned to kill inside themselves, not because they don't care about people, because they understand that external validation is borrowed confidence, and borrowed confidence has a return date. Rockefeller didn't post, Carnegie didn't broadcast. The Rothschilds built one of the most powerful financial dynasties in history through a philosophy that can be summarized in 4 words. Let the results speak, not the plans, not the vision boards, not the motivational captions posted between the action and the outcome, the results. And here's the deeper layer, the one most financial content never reaches. Building quietly is not just a strategy, it is a psychological state. It is what happens when you become genuinely more interested in the actual building than in how the building makes you look. When your internal world becomes more real to you than your public-facing one. When the work becomes the reward rather than the announcement. That men are driven by 2 forces, the need for security and the need for recognition. The common man chases both equally. The powerful man learns to satisfy the need for recognition internally. Through progress, through private wins, through the compound evidence of his own consistency. That shift is not small. That shift is everything. Let me ask you something honestly. How much of what you shared last month was genuinely for others, and how much of it was a performance designed to confirm to yourself and everyone watching that you are someone who is going somewhere? No judgment, just the question. Because Machiavelli's entire political philosophy rested on one foundation above all others. See people clearly. See yourself first. The person who cannot examine their own motivations honestly will always be manipulated by them. In relationships, in business, in the quiet moments when the decision between action and announcement presents itself again, the rich build quietly for 3 reasons. First, silence protects strategy. What competitors don't know, they cannot counter. Second, silence filters your circle. The people who support you before the results exist are the people actually worth keeping. Everyone else arrives after the announcement. Third, and this is the one that changes everything, silence builds identity from the inside out.
Every time you choose the work over the performance of the work, you send a signal to your own psychology that you are someone who builds because building is the point, not because the audience claps. That identity, reinforced quietly over months and years, becomes something nobody can take from you, because it was never dependent on anyone else giving it to you. Machiavelli did not write for people who wanted applause. He wrote for people who wanted to win. And the first lesson of winning, the one that comes before every strategy, every tactic, every move,
Not from critics,
is this:
from your own need to announce it before it's real.
the people building the most right now are not in your feed. They are not performing the process. They are in it, quietly, consistently, without an audience. And one day the result will arrive fully formed, and the world will call it overnight success, and they will smile privately at how long the night actually was. That is what Machiavelli meant by power, not the performance of it. The actual, quiet, unannounced accumulation of it. Subscribe, because every video on this channel is designed to show you how power and wealth actually work, not how they're performed. No noise, no fluff, just the truth, and most people will scroll past it. A few won't.